Well, not that I'm going to do anything here necessarily, but in the event that I do, I'm back online and the stream's back up, so that's good. Now I'll start trying to reconnect everything else here. Don't forget 1400. We've got the possible risk event there. The ECB President Lagarde is speaking right now. Okay, what else is going on here? Looks like everything's moving again. All right. There's some delay on the stream, that's for sure. Just looking at the clock on the stream, it's about about a minute and 20 seconds behind. About 20 seconds behind. Well, okay, pick the stream back up with the new stream here. I will be extremely, well, I should not have any opportunity for a trade because I'm working on the structured trades and they're both long below us. And typically with the internet dropping in and out for a period of time, I would never, I would be extremely cautious. At this point, it's pretty disappointing, but that's the way it is. And I still, my last stream, my last comments on the first part of the stream today. We will have excess up here. This is unfinished auction. So just keep that in the back of your mind and see what you see. See what we see. Just look at that profile and tell me if it looks finished or complete to you. It doesn't to me. It's a little hard to tell on the book map because of that big dropout of data over here. And I can't really update that. I don't think. I'm not going to bother with it, actually. 12:21 to 13:17, so about 40 minutes while I was away. Actually, that's a good thing to experiment with. How the hell can I do that? I know how to reload the data. Somewhere here there's a way to do it. Refresh and clear data library is typically what you can do, and I don't know whether that's worth doing now or not. Why not? Huh? Let's see what happens. That should download all the data up till now. Let's see. That's one of the issues with Bookmap that I don't like. That see how easy it is with IRT. Download data, full session, boom, and it's all done, and it's done in seconds. And it's pulled down from DTN IQ feed, which so is Bookmap. Oh, that's not so bad. Here we go. So they're pulling that together pretty quickly. Wow, look at this. Look at that big dump. Did that actually happen? This data still doesn't look right to me. I don't know if it does to you, but that's where the market, that's where it dropped off. But that didn't look right. I don't know if that really happened or not. It says that there was that much sell volume down here. Huh. I don't see that on any other charts. It did bottom out right here at 1221. About. Yeah, I guess it did. Pull back like that. That's pretty weird. Okay, we're back in business. Now I need to redo a whole bunch of stuff here, which is something that's good to probably go through. Anytime you change instruments on Bookmap, or of course it starts over, falls over, whatever else, you got to do the whole setup shooting match over again. So that's what I'm going to do. Multi-brackets is set up. I didn't have the, I wasn't using the, whatever the hell it's called. Okay, that's stuck. Now I need to verify this, verify that, shut this down. There we go. I'm not saying I'm going to trade. That would be pretty much of a surprise, considering it's so far away from my, but at least everything's back up. And now anytime that you have any kind of thing happen, or this is one of the things that can really happen to you, if you say you've got more than one instrument up here, like you're looking at the NQ, for example, and then yes, you change instruments, notice that immediately disabled the trade control panel, and even if you go back, still disabled. You've still got to turn it back on, activate it back the way you wanted it to be. It's a real important thing to know. I did have that big drop. It's not an anomaly to do with the data over there. That's here we have it in the 1 minute candle. Funny, huh? Just about the time the internet went out. It must have been maybe everybody. I wonder if that had something to do with it. That's interesting. Oh. Well, let's see now what's going to happen. Internet going to fall on its head again, or are they going to go crazy for the ties, or? Remember that we've got trumpet too. So remember, it's we got POTUS set potential risk here at the top of the hour. Who knows what, if anything, will be said, but it is definitely high potential risk, as far as I'm concerned. Now we got back to normal there. The other machines all seem to be okay. The big problem that happens is the machines recover actually quickly, but the rhythmic data feed needs to be restarted every time that anything like that happens with the internet. So that's the problem. And there's no way to set that to restart that I know of, actually. It's something I ought to look into. I don't think so, because it requires a login and a bunch of stuff, so. I wish there was a way to continue the stream, but there is not, that I've been able to figure. That's something else I ought to try to look into, I guess. probably not do all of the usual stuff based on this internet, and nobody in the stream here because of the dropout. So it's 1400 local, the power hour, where I typically go over the back testing, and I will talk about that a little bit and do the market recap at the bottom of the hour and the market on close numbers at 1550. So yeah, I guess the first thing is I approach trading as a statistical business rather than a video game or gambling. This is just for anybody that might come through the stream. I obviously know this. This is a random environment, essentially. And the outcome is 50-50 of the next trade is 50-50. That's a statistical fact. This market it's binary. It can tick up or tick down. That's all. Now you see that we've got huge liquidity living above us up here. We are, just under the highs, right on that century figure, and whoa, just under the all-time high up here at 41. POTUS is now on the taking the stage, so be extremely careful. Not that he's, not that that's not a perfectly great thing for him to do, but he tends to say things that can have a big effect on the market one way or the other, depending on how so as far as managing risk goes, that's what I mean by be careful. Manage your risk. Nothing political at all. I could care less, actually. So here's our day. There's absolutely no question about what this has been. It's been a basically opening drive, and context has been up. In the pre-market this morning on the first stream, talking about expecting responsive buying to take profit, and that's pretty much where we got. So the trades that I take now are based on structured trades, which have been statistically verified to have an edge, and they are the two initial balance trades, the IB high continuation or failure and the low continuation or failure. The idea behind approaching business as trading as a business of statistics or probabilities is not something I realized on my own or learned on my own. This is from the most successful traders in the world. They all have recognized that you find a strategy or a pattern that occurs frequently and identify the rules that validate the entry, and then collect a large sample size of that trade and backtest it to determine if it has an edge, which is what I've done. So let's then if you determine that it has an edge, you rely on you take every instance of the trade that presents itself in the live market and rely on the law of large numbers to manifest your bank account. And they all say it. Dick Simmons, Jim Simmons, Ray Dalio, Tom Stosnoff, Tom the Trader, Tom B, Mark, from the biggest traders that I have never had the pleasure to meet to guys that I know, like Rod and the guys I trade with every day. Probabilities and statistics is the only way to have a successful, continually profitable business in trading. So there's that. The way I approach it is this. I identify the initial balance trades, as I said. Oh, and my trades fell away. Oh, what a drag. renewing the data, refreshing the data, remove those flags, those session markers. That's a shame. They were great, and I didn't do a screen snap of them either. This didn't do me any good today at all. I had the session markers working flawlessly, and I was going to show those to you, but I can't at the moment, so there you go. But I can explain them. So what I did was decided I would approach this from a point of view of the initial balance trades, as I said. And there's the initial balance high, initial balance low down there. The way I approached it is, okay, the first statistic or the first rule, there are 3 sequential rules. And I call them rules because that's what IRT calls them. The initial balance statistic. Price needs, for the initial balance high, this is all commentary about the initial balance high. Price needs to trade up, so the open is lower than the high. Then the signal bar, the open is lower than the high, and the open is lower than the IB high, and the high is above the IB high. That's the signal bar right there. And there's the previous bar to it. So there's an A, there was an A right here and an A down here, the signal markers. Then we trade up to the continuation zone and close, with a high and close within it. And that is a B right there. And then what we needed for the initial balance continuation trade was for any one of these candles, anywhere but this one, most likely. These other 2 or 3 close need to come down to the trigger zone. Had they done that, that would trigger a long, which is an IBC, IB continuation long. And you go long, and boy, wouldn't that be a beautiful thing to be in today? You'd be up 50 handles or whatever it is. What is it? Well, it is 71 to 97, 30 handles, 35 handles. Great. That's all there is to it. And I take no trades. Obviously, if the trade would have gone the other way, it would have been an IB failure, etc. And I take no trades that aren't vetted. And the way I vet them is, as I described a few minutes ago, with backtesting. So here are the rules. Now, some of these, this sets up does some back, maintenance, back office stuff, setting flags, etc. Here are the signals and the corresponding flags that would appear over here on any chart. And this is the trade management for those 4 individual rules, 2 of which, 2 around each one of the IBs. Then you can set up the back test. Let's make it for 500 days. The instrument, contracts, session, the reports I want to see, and backtest it. Now imagine how long it would take you to go back through and verify every one of these 3 rules is specifically and exactly meets the criteria in the predefined trading system over every 1 minute bar for 500 days. I don't think it's humanly possible, but it is certainly possible this way. Oh, that's really interesting. Big difference in what I changed some rules over the night. It's got dropped from 24,000 to 12. Anyway, 498 days, 223,283 1-minute candles. So the computer evaluated every one of those rules 223,283 times. And it did it in 9 seconds. Yeah, this is real interesting. I made some changes that I thought would be valid for context, and I'll show you what those are. Anyway, it's a back test. So there were 638 trades. Typically, there's been about 1,000 or 1,100. What do we got here? Favorable excursion, $1.96. Adverse is 50. Most profitable day, average winning day is 32.12. Average losing day is 12.43. Oh. There's 442 winners and there's 111 losers or stops. Now, this is 442 and this is 111, right? So 553 trades out of 638. What does that mean? That means that the balance of those trades are scratched. .5%. There's a 69% win rate, 2.5% risk to reward ratio. 23 consecutive winners and 5 consecutive stops. This is a really important graph or chart or report or whatever you want to call it. There is each trade, all 638 of them, exactly the minute, the entry, the exit, the result. I'm looking for something here that I don't see, and yeah, there's one. There's both targets, there's both targets, there's both targets. I want to see if some of these changes I made were deleterious to our setup here. So I can't really check that out as much as I would like to, but then what I would normally do then is take that data and put it over here. And this is every one of these lines is the back test, and there's a whole section of ESs already filtered for the MES. There's a big section of ES. Every one of these is a back test. These are some I was doing yesterday. All of these over the weekend. Yesterday, actually. The 7th. No, that would have been Saturday. And just quickly what they are, here is. Now this is a MES 12-12-48, 2 lots. When we achieve T1, it scales to entry, 498 days. That's the number of trades, win, loss, all the things that should be happening, including the profitability. Where's one that's not that way? So here we go. Here is 12-12-48, no scale, 498 days. Now, what I'm doing over here is changing some of these things around. This resets all flags on stops. And then there's another one, trail to entry. And then I made another thing where I put in a criteria change to do with average true range. So this is how I would determine if I thought an entry was valid and had the expectancy that I expected to trade. Now here example, these are for just different days. This is for November 1st till through today, and this is from the first of the year through today, and this is for the 500 days back. I did each one of those 3 groups several different times with different options. 75%, 18, expectancy, 1.6, R factor, R multiple, 2.5, and profits. And you see that up here, until I changed those, I was having $25,000 days. Expectancies, where is that one? There you go. This was one. Well, none of those changes made. Trailing, and it's $26,000. So that's how I approach it and determine if I have an expectancy that I think is worth trading, and then lean on that edge. So that's my approach to backtesting, and I think it's scientific and systematic. So there you go. Now I got to look into something over here. I'm curious from that backtest result. 12:48. Yes, this triggered at 12. I didn't mean to do that. This triggered at 12. And I'm going to do 60 ticks. You just put it outside your norm. You put it outside the highest tick, so it will never get there, right? And there's no scale. Well, let's do that again. This is where I set my ATR flag. This is my ATR limit of 6, and I can put in trailing stop stuff based on the ATR. I'm working on an actual trailing stop, which is something I've got to get done. I think that's important, but I haven't got it to work yet. Okay, so now let's do that back test and see what we get. Now it will not trail to break even on T1. Ooh, even worse. That's pretty interesting. I'm going to have to really dig into these this evening. I didn't try this yet today. I got tired last night and called it a night before I really took a look at this stuff. So that's correct. This should be about 75. That's about right. 212, 140, 10 and 7. Okay. So that's really interesting. That is a huge drop. With two major things that I have done. I set all flags to 0 after either of the trade or any of the trades has been taken, and then the position is flat. It resets all flat, all the trades. In other words, there'll be an A, then there might be a B. Maybe we have a B down here. And we don't have a trigger. We get a trigger, say, for this long. If price comes down and also fires a trigger for the B, but it's not recorded or a trade not taken because we're already in one. So this upper trade, this continuation trades along, gets stopped out, goes to profit, whatever. The minute it goes to profit, if price comes back down to that trigger zone or satisfies the context filter, it'll fire this trade, which is not what you want to have happen, right? And so I set that's something that I recognize and set to 0 over the weekend. And what I mean by that is, there you go. It used to be this way. It would just set its own particular trades. In other words, just this set of trades would be reset to 0 on flat. Now it sets everything back to 0. So there can be no lingering trades that get picked up without a full set of circumstances or triggers being re-entered. That seemed to be a lot more realistic to me. I also I also added the ATR filter on the trigger, so the trigger won't fire, and set this last one to flag to entry. And the context is also needs to be correct on the trigger itself. Now that still exists down here. The problem that I've noticed down here is if the trigger fires and sets the flag to 1, that means that all of these are to 1, okay? Then whenever this part or this part became true, it would take a trade, whether you were where you thought you ought to be or not, the market ought to be or not. That's what my thinking was. So I'm gonna have to revisit that, because that's a substantial difference. Now I don't mind a big difference in the P&L. What I want is the most realistic, and the only way I'm going to be able to do that is to replay and see if it's firing where and when I think it should. That's the only way I know to do it. So there's that. And now we'll do the recap at the bottom of the hour, and then the market on close at 1450, and shut this thing off and get ready for tomorrow. And I'm on mute. I just been talking here for the last, I don't know how long. So yeah, what I was saying, I don't know where to pick it up, but you know, sorry. Anyway, it's been a shitty day. What can I tell you? Internet wise. I hope that I got the part about risk management on there about server side stuff. Let me just go over that. I hope realize today the importance of risk management for your account. And today's internet drop off is a perfect example. Why it's so important to have bracket orders in your always with stops and targets. And make sure that your bracket orders are server side, not local. If this fell over and I had a trade on, I wouldn't be, you know, in a panic, sweating bullets, because I know I have stops and targets. Now, I'd be on the phone to AMP to flatten out, because I don't believe that you should just rely on that stuff. But anyway, that's where it is. And we're going to have the market on closing balance here at 1450. I'm not sure what else I may have missed as far as that mute off is concerned. One thing I was saying is that, you know, just this little pullback here, because of the market, I'm not able to keep the price ladder at one point as usual. This is 10 ticks. Between each mark is 10 ticks. So it's 2.5 points, right? So this from here to here is 15 handled. I need to keep a constant. I try to keep these things constant so that I have a sense of scale. You know, typically these would be 1 point high. Well, let's do that just for grins. There's, there's 1 point high. Okay, so there we are. Can't even remotely get the rest of the day on here because of all this volatility. But you get the point. And look at, isn't this interesting? Look at the trade, and now look at this. Remember when we were looking at the volume, or at the volatility, the volume over here? 75% of average volume over the past 20 days. Yet 3.25 ATR. These are points, not ticks. 3.25 points ATR on a 1 minute bar. Light volatility, light volume, and volatility. That adds up to be careful. That adds up to shoving the market around any way they want it and making as much money as they can off of typical retail traders. Oh shit. Boop, boop. Well, that was terrible. I just clicked inside of here accidentally and entered a long. Cost me 4 ticks. That's what can happen by being sleepy, or not sleepy, but not aware of this active data column. And I clicked way out. You see where that click is? I clicked up there. Look, I was trying to scroll in or out, and I accidentally jumped over here with my mouse and entered it alone. Now, had I left it alone, I'd have been making some money. But that's absolutely not the thing to do. The thing to do is flatten as fast as you can. And I canceled and flattened. I should have flattened and then canceled first. So that was an error. 4 ticks. That's goddamn stupid. And I was busy just trying to show the range, the perspective of range. Now, I should have left it alone, and I'd have been in here at 757 and up at 89. I'd have been T1 about. Wow. But that's not, that is definitely not correct. When I have an error like that, the fastest thing to do is flatten out, which is what I did. And it'll probably go on to, you know, who knows what, a new high, but that's what it is. Well, I should have been over here. So that's pretty annoying. Wow. Would have been nice to have an error in my favor at least. I mean, it is. Had I left it alone, you see, it would be T1. But I was just trying to change the scale and got off here when I glanced somewhere else. Now what I'm going to do is this. Boop. And then I'm going to go like this right here. Now I can't make a mistake. I wish I'd have done that earlier. But what I was trying to do was this. And that's 1 point high. But there's no way you can have the entire range in there. Well, that's really frickin' annoying, boys and girls. I'll tell you that right now, but you see what happens. And that's one of the problems with using the active data column. For the longest time when I started converting to using the mouse, I only used the DOM columns. Now you can click all you want to over here and nothing's going to happen. But my thinking was that I'm never going to make a mistake in the DOM column. The problem with that is it's kind of hard to see where I want to be over here, you know, with relation to a level or something. And this is, I find, more exact and more accurate. And I have this closed as small as I can get it. So, you know, but I still was able to get my mouse in the wrong spot right over here. And, you know, I have no problem at all with the fact that this is you know, been up there 4 or 5 points from the entry. Would have been 4 or 5 points in profit and who knows what. But that's not part of my trade plan, and that's not something I'm ever going to do. So there you go. It's like all the errors that you make that work out in your favor, like moving your stop away or something. The human mind is really, really efficient at remembering only the good stuff that it wants to and seeing patterns where they don't exist and, you know, rationalizing stuff. I'll remember this one. And oh boy, or especially if it ran way up here somewhere, I would really remember that. There's the market on close and balance. That's it. That's what that bump was. Let's get back to the regular stream now. After that stupidity, wow, that's amazing. Look, I should have not bothered starting the stream up, gone to bed or taking a nap or something. That's pretty disappointing. That's 4 ticks. I mean, come on. Plus commissions, $2. And there's our market. Ooh, look at this. Looky. 1,298,000,000 sell-side S&Ps. 84 million buy-side NASDAQ. 443 million sell-side Dow. 105 million sell-side Mag 7. 1,289,000,000 S&P 500 contracts. Imagine that. And we think they're going to come chase our stops, right? All right, so there we are. Isn't that a shame? A trade I didn't want to do. An error, obviously. But and look at, they're going to go up here now. Never took any heat on that trade either, by the way. Straight up. I'm going to end up with T2. You watch and see. Well, there's T1, so that's been taken. T2's up here. Yeah, who cares? What was I going to do? Just something. I don't know what. Oh, yes. I'm going to put the thing I do every day for my snaps whenever there's any kind of a trade for accountability. There you go. Live account. There you have it. Now I have a snap for the journal and from a static journal, and yeah. So there's T1 out of the way had I left that trade alone. And I'm not sure how that works. 87, 88, 89, 90, 91. How can that be? And now here you get, and now you're getting spanked. I got to go back again and look at how that's set up. That looks wrong to me. No, it's just under 91. That's right. It's 3 points. Oh, I've got this on 1 point wide now. Yeah, that's right. I was thinking it was still 2.5. Okay, sure. 90 and a 90, 75. Yeah, it's 3 points. Okay. Jesus, now I'm seeing things and seeing double and feeling single, or however that old song goes. Well, that's pretty doggone. Oh, that's pretty doggone amazing. There we go. So there's my error. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. 4 ticks. No problem. I am a little disappointed in myself that I clicked cancel before I clicked close. I should have done close first and then click cancel. Would have maybe. I've actually had that happen and had 0. I've gotten it quick enough to have no effect except the commission. And not very often. I can't remember the last time I made a mistake like that. Disappointed, tired, worried about the stream and the internet and trying to adjust the scale with this column active. Not smart. And you see, this would have been a stop. Boop, there's a stop. Entry, T1, T2, stop. So we're going to shut this baby down at the top of the hour, and I want to be sure you understand This is the second live stream of the day because the internet fell over. The first one's about 4 hours and 21 minutes. It's also in the list. And I'm glad I did that because I have a commitment to take no trades off the stream, and so here we have a trade on the stream. Even though it's an error. And it's a negative, 4 tick loss and an error on a 2 lot. That's pretty good. 2 ticks. But that's part of the commitment to this stream as risk neutral trading. It's my virtual trading journal, so I want to have everything captured. It only makes sense, right? And who am I going to kid? Me? Of course not. The typical stream is 7 hours long. This is going to be about 4.5. I shut the stream down every day at 1500, and it starts with the pre-market, all of the setup and the theory and whatnot at 8 o'clock in the morning every trading day. And it will do so again tomorrow. Okay. I was so busy shutting this off and getting it done, I didn't even get that error trade in there. I'll get that into the stream somehow. I hope. And we're going to pull the plug here in about a minute and a half, and I can't tell you how glad I am. Everything fall over when I come walking back in the office and the stream stopped, followed in hot pursuit by a fat finger error. That's just magic. And I need to get to the bottom of these back testing because I want to see those values as drastically different, and I want to check that out. About a minute to go, so there you are. Remember that you are the most important piece of equipment you have in your trading office, and you need to make sure oh, come on. Yeah, you are the most important piece of equipment you've got in your trading office. All the money and time and effort we spend on monitors and software and indicators and strategies and all that stuff. And imagine what would happen. Your eyes take all that data in, your brain processes it all, and you make financial decisions for your family and you. What's the most important piece of that link? Piece of that chain? You. You need to be well rested, hydrated. If you're on emotional tilt, get away from the screen. Be healthy. We come into work every morning. And the other side of our trades, remember, it's a zero-sum game. So whenever you buy, somebody else is selling. Whenever you sell, somebody else is buying. All the way up today, somebody's been on the other side of every one of those buy trades. Somebody's been selling every one of those. And how is that somebody going to make money? By taking the market down. That's why the market goes up to go down and goes down to go up. It's a fact. And all of those institutional traders that come in are some of the most highly educated absolutely the best funded and supported trading people in our space. And they are there for one reason, and that's to make money for their firm, for themselves and their firm. And they make huge money. And how do they do that in a zero-sum environment? They make money every time they make $1, somebody lost one. Every time they make $1, it costs somebody $1. So you better be, switched on and ready. And there we go. The cash market is closed, and I can safely say adios, amigo. I was going to be looking for continuation on the top side over here. But with this sell-off we're having and Trump talking supposedly and whatever else, who knows? Maybe only the overnight will take it up there. But have a great night. Get away from the screens, rest your eyes, do something healthy. And I'll see you tomorrow. 0800 Central Standard Time. Let's hope that the damn thing holds together.